All right, I think we're live. I think everything is up and running. Let me quickly spread the word that we are live. But it seems to be working correctly. Connection is good. Audio is recording. You see the right screen, right? Yeah, I think everybody can. Brian, yes, I am. I'm always late with a minute, but it's never more than 1-2 minutes. And we're live right now. All right, so yeah, let me quickly send everywhere that we are live. And then we're good to go. I wanted to start off with talking a little bit about the markets, just in general. What's going on right now? We're seeing a little bit of a de-risking, as you can see. Altcoins incredibly correlated. But that's not bad. I mean, you can see right here, open interest is going down a little bit. That's not it's not bad, and you could almost say that that's needed before we can actually get another move up. But we'll see if that's actually going to happen or not. That also depends on the data we get. Although I'm not well, we'll talk about that in a moment. All right. I mean, I'm doing two things at one time right now, which, you know, I try very often, but it never really works. So let me see. Last place where I have to send it is X. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're live. How's everyone doing? Is everyone having a great week, just like the markets? Hopefully you all are. My week so far has been good. I mean, I made some losses in May, making those back luckily in the last week. So that's always great, of course. And those losses in May could have also been prevented, but that's sometimes the way the market works, unfortunately. But yeah, so market's pulling back a little bit here. It's normal, and the data. Look, we always want lower than expected data, of course. The expectation right now is that CPI is going up, core inflation rate going up, inflation rate going up. And core inflation rate year on year going up. This is most likely the expectation because of the tariffs. So in general, we always want lower than expected inflation. But in this case, if we actually get lower than expected inflation, then that could also be a signal that these tariffs might not have the effect that analysts expect that the tariffs have, right? So then all of a sudden, we might actually get much higher probabilities for rate cuts down the line. Now, next week, Monday is the first FOMC meeting. We're very unlikely going to get a rate cut there. We have about a 0.2% chance. But the 30th of July, we actually have a 10% chance, and then September, it's a 50% chance that we get a rate cut. So getting lower than expected data in that sense would be great news for that, because that would greatly increase the probabilities of rate cuts, which is obviously great for financial markets, not only Bitcoin but also stocks. Navid, welcome to the stream. David, Team Dave, welcome. Yeah, Brian, I saw the trade deal, but the market is not really reacting. So we'll have to see. Maybe it's priced in already. Could be. Mooncrawler, welcome to the stream. Sharon, welcome to the stream. XRP target. I think I made a video in December or January with a target of like $4.5. I still stand by that, even though I think the chances of getting there have been decreasing, I'd say. Sun Voyeur from Finland, welcome to the stream, man. Eddie, welcome to the stream. Andrew, welcome to the stream. What's up, everybody? Yeah, so news in, what is it? 4 minutes. As always, I'll drop the link down in the comments so you can watch it for yourself as well, because I cannot change it, but there always is a bit of a delay, right? So the site I sent in the comments is the best site in my opinion. There's a couple of similar ones, but this one is very, very quick. So there you can see the data at the same point of time I see it. If you just watch this live stream, you'll get it like 15 seconds later, which doesn't matter, probably not, unless you're trading this news, which I would advise against. But still, it's still better to just get the data as soon as you can. So use that link if you want to see the data. Julian, welcome to the stream. Saraimir, welcome to the stream. So yeah, I mean, for everybody tuning in later, and for everybody that missed my Bitcoin video this morning, in general, we want lower than expected inflation rate data. Because of the tariffs, the expectation, or at least the consensus expectation, is that we're going to get a little bit higher inflation. So it doesn't necessarily matter if we get higher inflation rate data, because it's as expected, right? But if it's higher than the expectation, that's bad, and if it's lower than the expectation, that's good, all right? And that's also good for the next couple of months, because that means, like I said a little bit earlier, that means that the prospect, or at least the prediction of what the tariffs can do to inflation rates, might have been a little bit off, right? Because right now most people are saying, all right, these tariffs are going to cause inflation, which historically they have done, but tariffs historically are also very uncertain, right? I mean, you can go to Google Scholar right now, read some academic papers on tariffs, and you'll find out that there's basically, like, the economy is such a complex system, it's impossible to predict what tariffs are going to do, all right? And therefore data like this matters, because this is real data. This is what is really happening, and these are the prices that are really changing. So therefore it matters. But this data in general, when we're talking about the reactions of the markets, I don't necessarily think that if we're going to get lower than expected data, we're going to break out. And on the other hand, I also don't necessarily think that if we get higher than expected data, that we're going to have a bearish breakdown, right? Because what I also said, the expectation already at this point of time is that we're going to most likely get the first rate cut in September, right? So if we get higher than expected inflation rate data right now, will that really change the situation? I don't think it will. It probably won't, right? So therefore, look, this inflation rate is going to cause a lot of volatility, and that's also where the main opportunities lay. But Bitcoin itself and most altcoins are very correlated to Bitcoin at this point of time. Of course, Bitcoin itself is within the balance we were also at the beginning of May. And honestly, at this point of time, I do not expect that balance to break. But those are my thoughts. Bradley, thank you for the $5, and thank you for the encouragement, of course. Welcome to the stream, of course. Gav Guitar, the US-China tariff deal. I don't really have an opinion on that yet. I don't have all the full data. And I think it's kind of priced in already. If you take a look at the volatility index, if you take a look at gold, there already was not a lot of instability priced in by the markets, right? So I think the markets already kind of expected that they would come to some sort of a deal, some sort of an early deal, because I do think it is kind of an early deal. So for now, maybe when the US market opens in an hour, maybe then we'll get some sort of a new reaction. But for now, I'd say it's relatively neutral, and it's just in line with what has been happening already. All right, news in 35 seconds. Magnetic, I will not be bearish. I will just be realistic, if you don't mind. So yeah, let's see. And so the main level for Bitcoin to hold is 107,000. And I do expect that to hold, even if the inflation rate data is higher than expected. Although, should you buy then at that level if it's higher than expected? I'll leave that in the middle, right? Navid, Ethereum has already broken out, I'd say. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have data. Let's see how fast it appears. Always very interesting to see what the data is going to be. It should be a little bit... Oh, it's lower than expected. It's lower than expected. That's good news. That is good news, but remember my words, good news doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to break out. But you can see that everything is shooting up right now. But good news, inflation lower than expected across the board. 100% certain Donald Trump is going to tweet about this. I'm 100% certain about that. But no, I mean, this is actually pretty good data. I mean, the inflation rate, yes, it's higher than previously, but it's lower than expected. And especially the more short-term data, so inflation rate month on month, and core inflation rate month on month, those are all lower than previously and lower than expected. So that's good data. This may be affecting the potential rate cuts, but I'm not certain. Core inflation rate is the same as previously. Inflation rate month on month is 0.1 instead of 0.2. CPI has increased, but it has increased lower than the expectation. Core inflation rate month on month is lower than expected. Inflation rate year on year is lower than expected, and CPI SA is also higher than previously, but lower than expected. So this is good data. However, we had a lot of momentum already over the course of Monday and Tuesday. This good data does not necessarily mean that we're going to break out. All right, it has happened a lot in the past as well that good data is being used by whales, by major traders, by market makers, whomever, to sell off their positions. All right, because at this point of time, what's happening is that retail sees this data, they're going to buy, and that's the ideal moment to sell major positions, right? If you have $100 million in Bitcoin you want to sell, the best moment to do that is right now. All right, so the best thing you can do, I'd say, is keep your eyes on the 4-hour time frame right here, and keep your eyes on 110,500. All right, that is the most important resistance level right here. As you can see, if we're able to get a break above that, that's great news. All right, that probably means that we are going to rally up higher. But for now, it's good data, right? That this is good news, all right? There's no way you can spin this in the sense that this data means that we're going to get a recession. There's no way you can spin it like that. So this is good news, but good news does not always mean that we're going to break out or rally, all right? Very often, even good news actually marks the top. So yeah. But you can see coins are rallying. Athena is rallying. That's great because that's one of my positions. But yeah, so something is happening. It's just not a lot. But there are some moves happening across the markets. I mean, here you can see it. There are there is activity. It's just it's not as much as some of you might be expecting. Balas. 3.17 stop loss for Sui. It depends on your entry, and I would say you're going to have a very hard time to get a good risk reward, right? Because if you place your stop loss here for Sui at 3.17, yes, I'd say that the chance is quite low that it gets hit, but then you have to place your take profit all the way at 3.8, and then you have a risk reward of 1-to-1. Which is not great risk reward, and that's also, you know, maybe a bit of a stretch to reach with your take profit. So I would either wait for a bit of a pullback, or I'd have a tighter stop loss, to be fair. Big lows, I did not see that. To be fair, if you take a look at the news right here, you can see the big move. Yeah, I mean, prices on the 1 minute time frame went up a little bit. That's speculation, but most of it was after the news, as far as I can see, at least. Ape, it's I don't think this is a traditional cycle. If you see the traditional cycles as what we had in 2017 or what we had in 2020, I don't think we're going to have a similar cycle. The market has matured. The total market cap has gone up, and I don't think we'll see the same explosive growth as what we saw there, honestly. Yeah, so alt season. Look, I make updates where the thumbnail says alt season update, but I don't think we're going to see an alt season as we did back in 2017 and 2020. I mean, if you take a look at others, right? So this is the total altcoin market cap, basically. At this point of time, when almost nobody is saying we are in an alt season, the total market cap is at $265 billion. The last time an alt season started, so let's say that is 2020, the total market cap started at $45 billion. Right, so at this point of time, we're already trading at a 5x from the last time the last alt season started. Right, and there's just too many projects. There's too many high valued projects to still get an alt season as what we did. That's my opinion. Now, will we still see altcoins that do very, very well? Yes. Will there still be amazing opportunities to make a huge amount of money? Yes. It's just that I don't think it works anymore to just buy altcoins. let it sit, and expect a profit, right? You have to have an edge. You have to be better than others, right? So you have to find the good projects that actually have some utility, actually have hype, actually have some sort of a plan to push the prices up higher, such as Hyperliquid. And then you can still make a lot of money, but you have to be critical, all right? You have to be critical, and I think you have to be smart. You cannot just buy 10 altcoins, wait for the alt season, and make 2x. Maybe you'll make 10% profits. Maybe you will make nothing. That's the way I think it. That's the way I think it works right now. Yeah, meme coins, magnetic. That's part of it, but it's not only meme coins. It's also highly valued venture capital coins, I'd say. Zane McGregor, with Sonic, I still have to do a little bit of research on the Sonic airdrop, which is something I'm a little bit worried about, right? Because an airdrop is always more supply being brought into circulation. Technically, Sonic right now is at the best level to buy. To be fair, you can see it's at the bottom of the range. But because of the airdrop, for now, I will not buy. Maybe if I research the airdrop a little bit more, and I think that it won't have that much of an effect on the price, maybe then I'll buy. I know the airdrop is vested, right? So it's not a major supply shock event when it actually happens. But for now, it's too risky, I'd say, to buy. Sonic has been incredibly weak in the last month when the market was very, very strong. And usually I'd like to focus on strength instead of weakness when the markets are good. Yeah, Raika, I agree. I think we actually already had somewhat of an alt season. I'm not sure how many of you were there back in October, November 2023, but altcoins back then rallied a huge amount. All right, I think October 2023 until May 2024 already was some sort of an alt season. However, since then, I think the market has changed, and I don't really believe in alt seasons anymore. I think it's just, I think it's just very fast cycles of going up and down. And if you can play that right, and if you can find the right altcoins, then great. But there will be altcoins that just go down after the cycle, after these very short cycles, and then with the next cycle, they won't go up anymore because there's so many alternatives and so many other altcoins that it's just not great. Yeah, all right. Saying so 25% immediately vested. Yeah, I'll be interested as well. I mean, it's always these token unlocks can always go both ways, right? Because sometimes they also create these huge short squeezes. So it's not necessarily bearish, but I would say like the constant supply that's being increased with that 75% that's being vested, even if it's vested over a year, it's constant supply entering the markets. And I think Sonic is great, but it's very, very difficult to get the demand to keep up with that supply. So for now, I like Sonic a lot, but I prefer... I'm not sure how many of you are interested in Sonic, but what I prefer for Sonic right now is just to accumulate in different ways, right? So if you go to Shadow, one of the major, I think you know about it, but one of the major DeFi platforms, and you go to liquidity, like you can supply liquidity for pretty stable vaults, right? So here you can see, well, USDC maybe not. But it's pretty stable to supply liquidity to USDC Ethereum, and then you get Shadow, but I think you also get Sonic rewards. No, you get Sonic rewards with something else, but you can get Sonic rewards by just supplying USDC and ASON USDC, right? So those liquidity farming things, I would say it's more interesting for me to do that and then get S tokens that way, rather than to buy into that. And but yeah, those are my personal thoughts right now. By the way, for all of you that new click, gold is not up in my thoughts. Gold is just in a consolidation. Gold is ranging. So if gold breaks out, could be bearish for Bitcoin, but that's not happening right now. But all right, for those of you who tuned in later, the news was positive. We had lower than expected data across the board for the inflation rates. Year on year, CPI, core inflation rates, normal inflation rates, all lower than expected. So that's good news, but it's unlikely, especially given the momentum we've seen yesterday, that Bitcoin is instantly going to continue its uptrend and its rallying behavior over the course of today. I would say it's more likely that this news is good for the medium and the long term, but short term, I think it's more likely we will remain stable, and then from that stability a little bit later, we can actually rally up higher, but that is something I'll keep you updated on. Yes, I saw the deal with China, but at this point of time, the market reaction is relatively weak, right? And I don't really care about I don't really care about the specifics. I care about how the market is actually reacting, and the market is reacting relatively bullish, but it's not much. So it's good news, but again, do I expect a bullish breakout? At this point of time, yes, but I don't expect it today. I think it's more likely that happens a little bit later. And new click, can you please not spam the chat? I'm trying to follow. I'm trying to comment, and I'm trying to reply to all comments. Sometimes I miss something, but that's part of it. Sharon, Zebek, yes. I think it's CBCN, right? This one? I looked at that some time ago, but at this point of time, I spoke with someone else buying around 0.004, but at this moment, I would much rather wait for levels lower. So 0.003 looks like a good buy area, and then afterwards 0.002. Because this has started a downtrend, and with all the imbalances lower, I think this can actually rally lower than where we are right now. So I'd be a little bit careful with this. And I think that there's better opportunities at this moment, frankly. Yeah, CBCN, J Rose. That's this. William, I'm not sure. I mean, after 2021, personally, there's always great opportunities in crypto. There's great opportunities almost every month. So no, I don't think so. But the level, the skill has increased, right? So if you entered in 2017. I bought Bitcoin in 2017 for like $5,500, right? That was very easy. It went up to 20,000. I didn't even know what I was doing. It was very easy money. But now it's a more mature market. It's a zero-sum game, right? So if you earn money, others lose money. So you just have to be better than the rest. And becoming better than the rest, that has become harder. That has become more difficult. But there still is, if you put in the time, there still definitely is potential to make a lot of money. David, I know. I saw the deal. But yeah, that's it for now. So short term, and summarizing, data was good. Bitcoin's reaction right now is good. We also had the China-US trade deal indeed, or at least some form of it. So definitely still bullish on the markets, but at this point of time, maybe I'm being a little bit stubborn. But I still think it's a little bit more likely we're going to consolidate. Before breaking higher later, not today, but that's I might regret that, but that's at least what I think for now. I'll be back with a new middle of the day market update a little bit later, probably in about 1.5 hours, so keep your eyes on the channel for that. But for now, everybody, I appreciate you all being here. Hopefully this stream was valuable for all of you, but that's it for now. So have a great Wednesday, have a great rest of your week, and thank you for tuning in. Take care.